Our live coverage continues from Indianapolis. Gonzaga head coach Mark Few meeting with the media on Sunday.
John, you ready with a question? Okay, we'll go to Eddie Pells then of the Associated Press. John, we'll come back to you in just a minute. Let's go to Eddie Pells of the AP.
Hey, Mark, just kind of going off of that, I know you do quick turnarounds a lot, but how do you come down from something like that and get them ready, for something like less than 48 hours later?
Hey, that's the task. You just got to compartmentalize stuff, and obviously, I think we all enjoyed the heck out of it last night, and probably none of us were able to sleep very soundly until early morning, and then now we've already had a couple film sessions, and we're getting ready to practice and start gearing up, and then we'll have a full day tomorrow too. So. I think that'll also help with the late start.
Okay. John, we're going to come right back to you then. Waco Tribune Herald.
Okay. Coach, can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay. Well, Coach, you mentioned Baylor, how much you respect them. Have you seen a guard squad, a squad of guards quite like this?
No. I mean, not that we've played against, with just the level of skill that they possess. Obviously, the way they shoot the ball, I think they're shooting the three better than collectively better than anybody in the country, and they play off each other so well. They're complete. They guard their yard defensively. They're very handsy on defense. They make the right reads and ball screens and off penetration, and obviously shoot the ball really well. I hope or think maybe it's a little bit like preparing for my guards, because I think they do the same, present the same kind of issues.
Thank you.
Coach, next we'll take a question from Allison Williams, ESPN.
Sorry. Hey, Coach, can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you, Allison.
Hey, Coach Few. I'm curious, did you start kind of installing some of maybe the defensive principles you would see with Baylor a while back in anticipation of this type of matchup?
As far as practicing against it, or as far as preparing, on the offensive side of things or on the defensive?
Yeah, either. I'd heard that maybe you had started working on some stuff a while back.
Look, we've always had Baylor in the rear view mirror or whatever, in the back seat, kind of as a look. If we're going to win this thing, we're probably at some point going to have to play them, because I always thought we were the two best teams, and so a little bit. I wish we had a normal 3 or 4 day prep, because it really does, the way they defend and keep you from getting middle, and some of the things they do in the post and all that, I think is different than what you see on a regular basis. And then also, in order to guard them, it's different, with just how the guards play off each other, the isolations that they kind of bring at you. And then also, when Vital's in there and John, as opposed to when Mayer's in there. It's a lot. It's a lot in 30 hours or whatever, but it is what it is. So my guys have been great at game prep all season, and they've been so consistent with their effort and attention to detail on game night. So definitely banking on that.
Coach, our next question is from Mike DeCourcy of the Sporting News. Mike.
Congratulations, Mark. Mike DeCourcy, Sporting News. I missed maybe the first question or two, so if this has been asked and answered, you can say that and move on. There were a lot of discussion about the idea that after your game against Baylor was postponed, canceled, that you and Scott were trying to get it back on the schedule. How serious was that, and how long did you go through that process before you gave up on the idea?
It was very serious, and we tried. We tried, and I think probably, I'd say once we got into first or second week of January or something, it was looking like the Big 12 schedule was going to be so hard to they had already had cancellations, I believe. And so it was going to be hard to slide a non-league game in when they had so many games to make up. But, I mean, Scott and I were on the phone. Scott and I were planning this all the way back into July. And we're really trying like crazy to actively get out and talk to other coaches who are great about scheduling games and playing games to just, after losing the tournament last year, to just put college basketball back in the forefront of everybody's minds here in the late fall and winter, and really had some good traction. We all had good games set up, and obviously ours was one of them. We always knew we wanted to play because we knew we'd be, in the top 5 in some fashion. But when we got the shocking news the morning of our game, that didn't stop us. We kept trying and by the time we got to mid-January, it looked pretty futile. So then we just said, well, let's do everything we can to make it all the way to this point. So pretty amazing that we both did.
Up next, we'll take a question from Karthik Venkataraman from KREM2 in Spokane.
Hey, Coach.
Go ahead, Karthik.
Computer froze up there a little bit. Yeah, in a way, are you happy that this game kind of didn't get rescheduled and now you get to play that most highly anticipated game from the non-conference on the biggest stage in college basketball?
Yeah, I think like I said earlier, we had our little futile human plans, but, God always has a plan. And as is usually the case, his plan is better than ours. So I think the way it turned out is probably the best scenario you could possibly imagine for college basketball in general, and even heck, sports, in America. And I think it's been great for both programs with just all the attention and everything it's generating.
The next question comes from Pete Thamel of Yahoo.
Mark, I asked this acknowledging it's not on the forefront of your mind 24 hours before you play for the title. But next year during the tournament, next year during the season, there's going to be obviously new name, image, and likeness rules. We don't know what those are. How do you think the Final Four would be different? A shot like Jalen's, he could be capitalizing off that today financially. I mean, the world is going to change pretty dramatically. I'm wondering if you have some general thoughts on what that could feel like a year from now.
Well, I'm hoping that we can all collectively get together and do the right thing. I think there's a lot of us that have been trying to help and working on that, and are even currently working on it when we do get breaks in the schedule. I'm hoping whatever we come up with it'll end up being great for our players, but also great for college basketball. It seems like everybody likes to nitpick at it and throw out all the bad stuff. But if anything, last night it shows you all the, all the great stuff. And that's why whatever you want to call it, it is worth saving. And, we don't need to overhaul the whole thing. It's just like anything that's been around for a while. It needs some maintenance, and it needs some very thoughtful maintenance, and especially from the people that are involved with it, and maybe not from the people that aren't really involved with it and don't really understand all the inner workings and how it all works.
Next question is for Zach Braziller of the New York Post.
Zach Braziller, New York Post. Mark, I was wondering if you had a chance to talk with Adam Morrison since the shot. He's made, obviously, headlines with his reaction on the radio. And obviously everything, the way that your UCLA game ended so long ago with him, it's kind of been all over the news today.
I haven't, and ironically, my sports information director, Barry, just played it for me on the way over here to the press conference, and it was awesome. It was awesome to hear Mo's emotion. And I know Mo very well, and he's a friend now. And he's not usually moved that kind of emotion. So I think it was that was a pretty special moment, and I'm happy for him and proud of him for kind of letting his guard down, because he's just a great guy, and he's a great Zag, and I think we've all moved past that moment and everything with UCLA, but I think it was just it was good for him to have that, and again to see just how he's got both feet in and all in on his support for our guys and for our program.
Dana O'Neill up next from The Athletic.
Mark, obviously you know about program builds, but arguably what Scott has done is obviously completely different and exceptionally difficult. I'm just wondering, as a coach, kind of what your thoughts are on what he's been able to do under the most incredible of circumstances.
Hey, Dana, it's absolutely unequivocally just off the charts, and I just don't think it's ever been seen, and I'm glad it's now coming to light. I mean, we're side by side in our meeting rooms there, and we've been hanging out a lot. I don't know if it's safe to admit yet, but we're partners in pickleball and are undefeated in the bubble, I might add. So that's been fun. But we have talked about that. I mean, we've talked from where we were to where we are, but ours was a lot smoother, and it just didn't come from a dark place. And where they were, it's unbelievable what he's been able to do. And I also feel like he's had to fight through some totally inaccurate, portrayals or whatever, of he's a phenomenal basketball coach. Just watch his teams play, and he has the incredible ability for just eternal optimism. It's just that's such a gift too. And I mean, I just have the highest amount of respect for him and what he's been able to do, and actually for the Baylor administration to helping him with the process and growing with him to they're a legit powerhouse now in college basketball, and Scott and staff, and then obviously all these great players they've been able to get deserve all the credit.
Matt Norlander of CBS.
Come on, Mr. Technology. You of all people.
I thought our beloved host was going to unmute me, so I didn't want to click the button twice and get into this situation. I
would never take away that privilege from you, Matt.
There we go.
I'd love to mute you if I had the power.
Oh boy, here we go. All right, I actually I have two quick questions. The first being the Suggs block and pass and transition to Timmy. It was a 77 game at that moment with 2 minutes to go. It felt like in the building that play gave your team a certain boost that who's to say if it was going to completely change the game if they had gotten 2 points instead of you guys turning it around. But did you feel in that moment last night that play might have given you extra life to increase your chances of winning?
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. I mean, the energy was definitely palpable. But I would also add, like, who else but Jalen? I mean, if that wasn't Jalen Suggs in just a snapshot there, like in a lot of different ways, we kind of messed up the switch, so he was a step behind it on the switch, but he didn't quit on the play, and only him as a point guard would go up and try to block a 6'10" guy's dunk attempt and still have the wherewithal to block it clean, go out of bounds, get both feet in. And then, he's the only guy on our team who would even remotely even think about trying to throw that pass. Thank God for that. And he's also the only guy on our team, and probably the only guy I've ever coached that could complete that pass. And then Drew deserves a lot of credit for, sprinting down the floor at 6'10" and having great hands to catch it and finish it. And it just an amazing play, and kind of sums up Jalen's competitive spirit. And how he never quits, his athleticism, his vision, but also is just crazy confidence in his ability to be able to make plays like that.
And then the other question was, you've been on the wrong end of a few kind of classic heartbreakers. Your Arizona game, kind of near the start of your career. I mean, that's just an amazing all-time game. Obviously the 06 one with UCLA, and then the championship one 4 years ago against Carolina. There might be one or two I'm forgetting, but to be on the other side of it the way that you were last night, how would you describe that feeling after having gone through what this tournament can provide, as a coach and as a program, that kind of exhilaration, because you know full well what it's like to be on the other side of that kind of result?
I totally do, and I think that's probably why, looking back at the ending, why I just gave it to Jay Wright. Like I've been on, from the euphoria of the shot to just the empathy for Mick and his staff, I wanted to reach out to them immediately and just say, awesome job, and just congratulate him on just what a heck of a coach he is and how well had his guys prepared. And it was just much like I felt after Arizona and even maybe that North Carolina game. Nobody really lost. The other team just won. And I definitely think that was the case last night. We just happened to have the ball last. So that was the best thing that could have happened to us.
Lucas Weiss next from the Undefeated.
Hey, Mark, Lucas Weiss with the Undefeated. Congrats on making it to the championship game. You said before the tournament that you'd feel comfortable putting the ball into Andrew Nembhard's hands down the stretch. What he did in overtime last night, from the defense to that three-point shot to put you guys up 5, was that what you're looking for from Andrew in those big game situations down the stretch?
Absolutely. I mean, our entire organization has the utmost confidence in him. He's just got a great basketball feel for the game, and he understands when to make the right play and quite frankly, when to kind of hold off and live for the next action or the next play. And so I was proud of him. I've been after him to be more and more assertive, and that was a big time shot and just a big time delivery on the shot. I think it put us up 5 there at the time. So yeah, no doubt about it.
Billy Witz, New York Times.
Yeah, hi, Mark. I just wanted to follow up on the question Mike asked you about playing Baylor and trying to reschedule that game. Were there discussions of playing it in Spokane or Waco or a neutral site and all? Yeah, and I want to follow up to that.
Yeah, it was all neutral. And to be honest with you, I think we both felt really obligated to CBS, because CBS put a lot out to make the game happen here in Indy. And then look, it was nobody's fault, but you just feel guilty with it. That a COVID situation kind of robbed everybody that opportunity. So, we looked at numerous places. I mean, from obviously Scott wanted it in, I think he tried to throw out Fort Worth or something like that. And I wasn't too keen on that. But we looked, man, in Vegas. We looked, I want to say, in Denver. We were trying to Kansas City. The Pentagon in Sioux Falls was up for consideration. We were looking at every place and every venue and every thing, and quite frankly, looking at every date. And then at Phoenix, we talked about Phoenix because his brother was at Grand Canyon, and his parents are down there, and actually one of my staff members' kids plays at Grand Canyon, so we thought that might be fun. But yeah, I mean, it didn't happen, but it wasn't from lack of effort on everybody's part.
And quickly, just what's the bigger challenge, if there is, in this quick turnaround from a game like last night? Is it physical or emotional, mental, and why?
I think both. I would say. I mean, there was a tremendous amount of energy expanded by our guys. And at the same time, you know, obviously the emotions, I mean, I don't think you can get a more emotional roller coaster, you know, over the course of 2 hours or 2.5 hours or whatever it was. So, and then it's not just that. I mean, you get back and, you know, all your family and friends and everybody's reaching out to you and you know, when you can't sleep. And so I think it's a combination of both. And I think that the key is to just, today's the day we got to start putting it aside. And, you know, we got one more game to gear up with together, you know, and so we got to give it everything we got mentally and physically and team wise and everybody in our whole organization does.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.